Hey guys, this is Anime Ball Z here, and today we are going to be doing the opening part to a new What If Goku had kinetic reflection. Please like the video if you haven't already and subscribe, it's totally free and you can unsubscribe whenever you want. There's nothing much else I'd like to say in the intro, so without further ado let's get into the video.
Slick talker since a jet. Winter time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag, disrespectful and I'm rude, okay. I had cocaine in the school.
First of all, I've got to give a shout out to Corn Thompson for the what if suggestion. I think it could end up being quite interesting. In this what if, Goku is gifted the special ability of kinetic reflection. His ability consists of two main features. The first is that he can reflect the attacks of those that he fights. This is given that he is sufficiently powerful enough to do so. I mean, Goku could end up reflecting an attack from someone like Whis. His body would go through with it, but he would end up dying in the process if he is too weak. Along with that, similar to the Black Panther suit from Marvel, there is kinetic stockpiling. As more attacks land on his person, he can stockpile that power and redirect it in a single attack, making it significantly more powerful. When Goku is born, nothing much changes, however when he is to hit his head, he doesn't immediately feel hurt by it. The shock of the hit causes a glow to travel across his skin, but he then leaps out the hole and just laughs walking back to Grandpa Gohan's house. The old man is dumbfounded by Goku's showcasing of strength, but just throws it into the back of his mind and continues as normal. He just believes it to be yet another one of this kid's nifty abilities. Grandpa Gohan is still killed by Goku, then the Emperor Pilaf saga comes around. Here Goku starts showing off his special ability of kinetic reflection, however this won't make him immune to Emperor Pilaf's sleeping gas. This cunning ploy of his is enough to get the entire squad trapped, but Goku still turns into an Uzaru to free them. After this, Goku begins his training with Master Roshi. At first, Roshi and Krillin don't observe anything different about the boy except for his tail and natural power. These are things that they saw in the canon anyway. The main thing that changes is his kinetic absorption abilities. When sparring, he can make people's attacks reflect back onto them, or he can absorb the attacks to deliver one with the combined force of the attacks that they'd previously thrown. For even Master Roshi's strength, his body is more than powerful enough to take the attacks that head his way and reflect them back without causing himself much harm or tiredness. When the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai comes around, Goku completely destroys the foes that attempt to go against him. The main challenge he meets is in the final, and that's against Jackie Chun. Now Jackie Chun is aware of his ability and has found a way to circumvent this. Therefore, as the match begins, he remains back and begins charging up his Kamehameha wave. With this energy blast, the main power behind it rests not in the kinetic energy but the ki itself. The energy wave also holds a lot of thermal energy too. Entering even his max power buff form, Goku looks scared about what is to come next. He can use a max power form like Master Roshi can, Goku realizes, stepping back in fear and trepidation. He's got to be one of Roshi's old students. The energy wave is shot right in his direction and he meets it with his very own Kamehameha wave. The blasts slam into each other at the center of the ring and they remain still for a time. However, Goku is just as physically strong as he was in the canon timeline. His blast won't be enough to stop Jackie Chun's. This blast of his just continues to push back Goku's, making him lose his footing until he can't shoot his own any longer. The disintegration of his own Kamehameha forces him to catch Jackie Chun's once his fizzles out. Pushing at the blast with everything that he has, he is still overpowered and thrown off the ring. Goku isn't able to claim a win here, but it's all part of the learning curve. Now he knows that he must continue to grow stronger if he is to defeat his foes. His kinetic reflection won't allow him to just defeat anybody and everybody he encounters. For the following Red Ribbon Army saga, Goku completely obliterates the army. When they fire bullets then try and hit him in fights, he can absorb that kinetic energy and use it to hit the warriors with that same power. Bullets travel very fast and with higher velocities, kinetic energy becomes much higher. The entire army topples and he manages to retrieve the final Dragon Ball that he wished to acquire. After this, what comes up is the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai. Here Goku is trained up to the point where his power level is 180. This is exactly as it was in canon, however his main trump card is not his raw power but his kinetic absorption and reflection. Jackie Chun knows how to make his ability far less useful for Goku but Tien doesn't. Now the fighter that is Tien is too strong of an opponent for Roshi to take out under his Jackie Chun disguise. Therefore Goku ends up in the final, just as he did in canon against Tien. The two begin their bout and Tien rushes right off to try and attack Goku. Punching Goku's body repeatedly, he only seems to send glowing shimmers across his body while he remains put. With Goku absorbing the kinetic energy, he isn't being sent backward. After receiving about 5 to 10 attacks, a mixture of punches and kicks, he uses all this stockpiled energy in the form of a super-powered punch, hurling Tien back with immense force. The initial strike onto his chest snaps one of his ribs in two, cracking some of the others in the process. Tien is sent hurling across the ring and can't manage to slow himself down before he reaches the edge. Flying right across the ring, he is defeated and Goku claims the title of the world's strongest after a close loss in the previous tournament. Here, Goku ends up leaving his Power Pole and Dragon Ball at the tournament due to his forgetfulness. Krillin offers to retrieve those items for him and he is off to get them. In the process of getting these items though, he meets the malevolent Tambourine. The warrior doesn't think twice about brutally slaughtering him as if he's livestock. The warrior is slain and Goku arrives at the scene to see his dead friend on the ground in one of the tournament buildings. A thin layer of tears film over his eyes before they then roll down his cheeks. Wailing from the death of his best friend, he rushes out to hear of what the commotion was all about from the tournament announcer. Hearing this, Goku flies right off in pursuit of this demon. In flight, he finds him and this is Tambourine. As he's on his flying Nimbus, he stalks him down with the flying cloud and then leaps off it when the time is right. Landing a punch to the back of Tambourine's head, he lands back on his flying Nimbus before he can fall. Following that, he jumps off it once again to strike the Namekian demon in his face before receiving a punch straight to his chest. Utilizing kinetic reflection, Tambourine's fist pangs right off his chest and makes him crack his own knuckles from all the power behind the attack being sent through his own fist. He groans in pain from his broken hand but falls back and tries to shoot an energy wave with his other hand. Goku decides to take a gamble, throwing himself right off his flying Nimbus. The energy wave flows over his face and he continuously descends. Reaching incredibly high velocities, he lands, but this time a gleam flows up from his feet. He feels almost unstable from the amount of kinetic energy he has managed to absorb. Shooting himself up, he destroys the ground that he once laid on from the energy output. Shooting upward as if he's been shot out from a railgun, he reaches Tambourine in a flash. Viciously punching him, he ends up punching straight through his entire body. Killing the demon, the Namekian corpse and him are sent flying down, but he catches himself using his flying Nimbus. He could have reflected or absorbed the impact, but his stockpiled power only remains there for a short period before it slowly withers away. There's no need to stockpile the power if he can't even use it when he has the Nimbus to catch himself. He slowly descends into the forest where he ends up meeting Yajirobe as he did in canon. Another one of King Piccolo's children, Symbol, ends up arriving soon after and Yajirobe takes the liberty to fell him using his razor sharp sword. Goku then indulges in a nice meal with Yajirobe as they literally cook this Namekian dragon like being and eat his meat. Now what comes after is Goku's meeting with King Piccolo. The young Saiyan boy stands ahead of him confidently and rushes forward to begin the battle. Throwing a punch straight onto his chest, the old King Piccolo laughs from his lack of strength. Punching him back in retaliation, he grunts upon realizing that he feels one of his knuckles crack from the impact. King Piccolo is stunned by this since it felt like he was hitting metal. All the force that he applied just got sent right through his own body instead. He just lets the event pass and Goku tries to attack him again. With Goku being significantly weaker than even the old King Piccolo, the Namekian can parry or tank his attacks with relative ease. Relaxation is the main emotion that King Piccolo feels upon dealing with Goku's assault. Once he sees the opportunity, he punches Goku right in his chest but sees a gleam of energy just flow across his skin instead. He then throws a combination of attacks, shouting as he throws the final one. After dodging and tanking his hits, he has full belief that he can beat down this little rascal. For the final attack, being a punch from his healthy hand, he cracks a knuckle from throwing that hit as well. Grunting from the pain, he looks down at his bleeding knuckles with shock. The boy seemed so weak a few seconds ago, so why is it that he gets hurt when he tries to hit him? Even when thinking back to the previous attacks, he was able to take those like they were nothing. The logic just doesn't add up in his head, and before he can even think about recuperating, Goku throws back all of that stockpiled kinetic energy in the form of a punch of his own. In this attack, Goku feels a slight singeing pain on his knuckles and within his arm somehow. The haymaker of a punch throws King Piccolo back, snapping the arm that it lands on while also hurting his chest even though he managed to block it. He falls back, more than taken aback by the events that have transpired. The boy was merely holding back his power all along, but how? He looked to be putting a lot of effort into his attacks before and was using several techniques and ploys to try and outsmart him. That would be the behaviour of somebody that doesn't actually have strength to rely on. Now, with just a single hit from him, his arm is broken. More than annoyed about what has happened to him now, he lifts the index and middle fingers of one of his broken arms using the exploding wave technique. The area around Goku detonates, gravely injuring him in the blast. Just as the smoke clears while King Piccolo is breathing heavily, he sees that Goku is bruised and bloodied. The Demon King cackles upon seeing him in this state and lifts his hand to try and deliver the finishing blast to kill him. However, using the last of his strength, Goku manages to hop on the flying Nimbus and fly away as fast as he can. Piccolo even tries to launch his special Demon Wave attack to shoot him out the sky, but his Nimbus is far too agile to get caught by an attack of that sort. He swerves right out of the way of the blast and escapes from the battle by a thread. Master Roshi lures King Piccolo, who uses the ability of healing to get rid of his broken bone. He is taking a gamble here because the technique takes a lot out of him when it comes to stamina. We saw in the Namek Saga when Nail grew back his arm, his battle power literally decreased. However, King Piccolo is confident that he can get the job done. He finds the old trainer whilst Goku is still injured and arrives at Korin to retrieve a Senzu Bean. Since Goku isn't that tired right now, he doesn't actually rely on Yajirobe to get him up the tower. And the flying Nimbus isn't destroyed here, so he can just go straight up if he wants to. The threats against him simply aren't enough to make him think twice about the situation, and the Dragon Balls are soon his. Goku is in pursuit of this event once he sees that the sky turns black, adamant on killing King Piccolo before he can have the chance to resurrect himself. Upon finding the signature golden light in the sky, he shoots off to him using the flying Nimbus, then flies off as fast as he can. He continues flying down and crashes into the ground just beside King Piccolo. Just as Shenron has been revealed, the Demon King wants to wish for his youth, but he has this annoying little Saiyan to worry about. Taking a full power explosion from him, Goku received a significant Zenkai after being healed. With a power level of 260, he is placed as a complete equal to King Piccolo if he was to get his wish. Goku prepares himself and rushes ahead, using all of the kinetic energy he received from the drop and throws it straight into his punch. The attack, along with Goku's stronger base power level, manages to impale King Piccolo. His bloody fist can be seen from behind King Piccolo and he rips it out. The Demon King can see the end is near and decides to use the last of his power to shoot out an egg into the distance. The others let it fly off and he mutters unintelligible words in an attempt to make a wish. Nobody can even make out the words, including Shenron. He ends up dying and the saga is brought to quite the abrupt close. They then use the Dragon Balls that have been gathered to revive Krillin and Master Roshi together. Master Roshi still ended up dying from using the evil containment wave. Here Goku ends up training under Kami in his time where he grows into an adult. Here he learns how to sense ki and also fly amongst other things. Once again, Goku's power level arrives at around a similar level to canon, and the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai is soon to be underway. For the several matches, Goku goes through them easily. When he meets Chi-Chi, he also agrees to marrying her. What changes is the matchup against Piccolo Jr. Upon reaching the final, he can't believe who is up against him and he can see the resemblance between him and King Piccolo. Of course, he wasn't exactly in his prime years, so it's difficult to imagine the wrinkled elderly Namekian looking like this person. Now I can finally complete my goal, Piccolo states. What's that? Goku says in a somewhat jolly way. The two warriors prepare for battle with Goku taking off his weighted clothing. He feels much lighter now and stretches in anticipation of this upcoming event, getting rid of you. The match soon begins and many of the spectators lean forward in their seats as they look very tense in watching this fight. After watching both fighters run through the bracket from either side, they can't place a finger on who takes the win. Goku races forward and punches Piccolo's lifted forearms initially. Goku subsequently lifts up for an uppercut only to see Piccolo has stepped back and is now out of range. Goku's power level isn't sufficient here and the two battle it out like equals. With Piccolo Jr. aware of his father's experiences, he can decipher the nature of this battler. He just assumes that he has a lot of durability and decides to hide his strength from the jump because that's the only real way to rationalize it. Just saying that Goku can stockpile power to use later doesn't even sound realistic, even in the Dragon Ball universe. Goku shoots himself forward and throws a punch straight for Piccolo's chest, but it's caught before it can reach. Piccolo ends up sliding backwards slightly but comes to a stop soon after and looks to be in relatively good condition. This power that Goku has here won't be sufficient to take him down completely. He has landed some good shots and Piccolo is trying his hardest here, but he then throws some punches of his own. Clobbering Goku with an immediate strike to his face followed by a whipping kick to the abdomen, he notices that the Saiyan remains put and tanks the attacks easily. Witnessing a slight gleam across his body, Goku punches Piccolo straight in his stomach with his stockpiled power. The Namekian is bent right over and the wind is knocked straight out of him. He drops to a knee, struggling to get a hold of himself, but is forced to retreat before he receives any more attacks. In his retreat, as Goku advances, he then uses the exploding wave technique on the area that surrounds him. Just as he remembers it with King Piccolo, Goku is shot up in the explosion. As the smoke around the detonation area clears, he has landed a good shot on him. Goku does not look to be in peak condition and looks more wary of that special attack. The only annoying thing about it is that Goku can't really figure out where it's going to explode. The main theory that he forms, being the battle intelligent warrior that he always has been, is that if he remains still for a period of time so Piccolo decides to explode that area, he just has to move out the way. If he can do so as fast as he possibly can to get out the area, he should get out untouched. Piccolo Jr. tries to go for this ploy again and he manages to catch him. However, Goku soon learns to take the attack head on and spring in and out of the area to stay untouched. Once he is given the opportunity, he leaps forward and out of an exploding area, flying straight at his adversary. In this advance, he cocks back his hands and launches the new and improved Super Kamehameha Wave. The blast is sent hurtling straight for the fighter, giving off a bright blue glow even in this bright daylight. Piccolo is forced to take the attack, then is hit by it in the end. Being forced to tank the blast head on, his clothes are left tattered and scorched after this main impact. He looks injured after this event but is ready to go. Swiftly after, he launches his special demon wave straight at Goku. After this, Goku wants to test out something. He's become incredibly used to just being forced to take the force of energy waves. However, some of their force has to be something that he can absorb. I mean, it's a moving thing. For him, any hard object that hits him that's been moving, he can absorb something from. Therefore, as the blast approaches him, it slams right into him and the gleam that he knows all too well flows over his skin. However, the overall pressure from the blast and the intense heat still affects him. This singes his skin and leaves some wounds, but the overall impact of the blast has been reduced. With this extra energy stockpiled within him, he jumps forward, swinging his leg straight for the Namekian's face. Amplified by his stockpiled kinetic energy, the blast lands square on Piccolo Jr.'s face, launching him across the arena. The attack leaves a sizable bruise on his face while leaving him disoriented for a brief time. Goku stands firm and allows his enemy to raise. To be honest, he needs a little bit of time to rest as well. Just absorbing the kinetic mechanical impact of an explosion is a very risky game, and the pain in his body forces him to take some time off. Piccolo then becomes a giant Namekian and slams down his arms straight onto Goku. A rookie mistake, he believes that his attack just might be enough to take him out, but he tanks the attack and stockpiles it. Goku, being the cunning fighter that he is, steps back to give off the illusion that he's retreating. This gives Piccolo Jr. the impression that he's done something, and he rushes right in to stomp on him. Goku catches his massive leg using his hands and stops another stomp right away. With this immense force stockpiled, he thinks this just might be enough. Flying up as fast as he can, he utilizes the power of the Foot Kamehameha Wave to amplify his speed. He shoots forward and the glowing blue aura around his approaching body gives him the appearance of a bright celestial deity to Piccolo. He looks flustered by this sudden attack and this punch lands straight onto his abdominal area. The Namekian is totally winded by the attack and it breaks into his skin too. He is launched off his feet and out the arena, being eliminated by Goku's kinetically amplified strike. With this, not in a perfect fashion, Goku has taken the win and is the strongest in the world once again. Now Goku still takes things lightly after marrying Chi-Chi and having Gohan. This period of time goes very similar up until the emergence of Raditz for him. For Piccolo, he is very motivated to go and take down Goku now. After getting so close, closer than his father did, he wants to train as hard as he possibly can to get rid of him. Instead of training his special beam cannon, he wants to create an explosion that Goku cannot deal with. The special beam cannon could have a good chance of killing Goku here, but he wants to have the perfect chance, the highest chance possible. Therefore, he opts for creating a slightly different attack, his special light grenade. After these 5 years, the man known as Raditz arrives. He has a large smile on his face upon emerging and kills the farmer before locking onto the massive signature from Piccolo. Arriving in front of the Namekian, he looks tense as soon as he senses his immense power. Raditz just looks even more confident once he acknowledges the dynamics here. "Who are you? Come closer and I'll blast you to smithereens," Piccolo shouts. Placing his hands together, he realizes that there's no way he'll be able to get his light grenade off in time. Much to his pleasure, however, Raditz just stands there and lets him do whatever he's doing while he talks. The power level that he sees in his scouter is so low that he is fearless. "I'm Raditz and I'm looking for my brother Kakarot. Have you seen anybody with such a name here?" Upon Piccolo seeing his tail, he's smart enough to decipher that he just might be talking about Goku since he had a tail previously. He's supposed to have murdered every single person on this planet, but I can see that he hasn't gone through with his mission, Raditz says. Silence befalls the two as Piccolo just looks focused on his own attack. "You don't want to talk? Fine, let's see how strong that blast of yours you're cooking up really is," Raditz says, confidently lifting his arms up by his side. Seconds later, Piccolo's blast pops into existence, causing waves of ki and air to blast out wildly. Upon measuring his power level using the scouter, he sees his power level jump up to 2147. This makes Raditz startled, and his arms immediately drop to his sides and enter a battle position. However, it's too late now. Piccolo roars and shoots the blast straight at him, releasing an absolutely massive explosion that Piccolo must fall back to not get hurt by. It releases a bright nuclear-sized explosion that raises many hundreds of miles squared of the surrounding area flat. As the smoke fades, Raditz is revealed with burned skin and a bloodied frame on one knee from his weakness. He coughs out blood that starts bubbling upon being spat out from the heat. Steam flows off his sizzling skin, and it really isn't a great sight at all. In rage, he shoots his double sundae straight at Piccolo, flustering him. The Namekian won't get out there in time, but he then feels a force pushing him to the side. Being thrown out the way of the blast, he was just saved by Goku. "I didn't need your help, I had him, Goku," Piccolo shouts, shoving the Saiyan away from him. The two are still similar in strength, so Goku is actually thrown back a bit. "What do you mean? I just saved your life. This guy's super strong," Goku says, turning to him. "Kakarot, it's you," Raditz says, before he starts coughing intensely. "Kakarot, my name is not Kakarot, I'm Goku," Goku says, pointing at himself. "Your name is not Goku. Did you hit your head or something and forget where you came from? You're my brother and you're a Saiyan. You are not from this planet but a planet called Vegeta. Does none of this ring any bells for you?" Since Goku didn't actually hit his head, he starts to remember what was said to him. It's just that all of those things happened as a baby, so he remembers those events very vaguely. Goku was never told to destroy the planet by Bardock. This is something that Raditz assumed to be true. When thinking back to his time of youth, this name Kakarot does ring bells. He then gets a memory of Gine in an odd looking house, and he's looking at her through some odd yellow liquid. Then he remembers the first day he used his powers in an attempt to stay with his parents. "I do remember. I remember a few things but not everything," Goku replies. "Well, your green friend over there has tipped me over the edge, so I'm not really here to strike a deal with you. If you don't want to complete your mission, I'll beat you both down and do so myself." He is injured from that initial attack, but he still has more than enough fire left in him to continue. He flies right toward Goku, viciously punching him. He follows up with an uppercut, then numerous punches to his face in quick succession. None of these strikes even make Goku move, and Piccolo just grunts in anger. He wanted to take down Raditz, but it looks like he won't have the opportunity here. He's a goner. Goku throws back all of that power in the form of a punch, feeling a stinging pain in his fist as he does this. The amount of power that he's stockpiling is approaching and slightly exceeding the limit of his body. The attack breaks through what remains of Raditz's armor and makes him cough out blood. The wind is knocked out of him and he feels great agony within his stomach from the attack. Dropping to his knees, saliva and blood flow out from his mouth. He tries a number of times to get up, but the situation soon dawns on him. He's going to die here. Don't think this is over. In a year's time, two Saiyans will come here that far outclass you both. They'll kill you two and raze this place to the ground, Raditz roars, coughing out blood. He sees chunks of flesh in what he coughs out and his eyes widen with shock. It's really over for him. Seconds later, his head falls flat on the floor and he passes away. Goku and Piccolo don't exactly stay near each other for long after that, with Piccolo flying away as soon as he gets the chance. He thought about just killing Goku there, but wants to hold that thought for now. He wants to cause slightly more destruction. Goku returns to his friends and informs them of the situation at hand. With this information granted to them, they know that they must start training now so that they can protect themselves. This is the only way that they can survive from Goku's descriptions. Raditz was already way above his level of power, so how strong would these mysterious Saiyans be? Regardless, they need to be as prepared as they possibly can be. Goku then returns to his family and the Demon King Piccolo follows him soon after. As he sees Goku exiting his house to train in the grasslands that surround it, he sees it as his chance. It's taken him a while to refine his technique to this level and he begins charging it right away. This charging of ki alerts Goku, who turns to him right away. "What are you doing, Piccolo?" Goku asks, alarmed. "Don't think this is over. You humiliated me all those years ago and now it's my time to do the same to you. Say goodbye to your life and everything you've ever loved." Piccolo roars as the golden blast of ki appears in his palms. Goku, too flustered to conjure up a proper plan of action, enters a battle stance as the blast is already hurtling toward him. The blast detonates violently, taking the likes of Gohan in the process. Goku attempts to absorb the kinetic impact of the blast, but that's not the main factor of the power behind this attack. His body is shredded apart along with Gohan's and Chi-Chi's, and the battle is over. Looking at the gory, scorched remains of his home, Piccolo relishes this strife. Finally, I triumph over you, Kakarot, Piccolo shouts with a keen smile on his face. So that will conclude the opening part of What If Goku had kinetic reflection. I just want to thank Corn Thompson again for this What If. I think it's actually amazing. He also had a lot of good other ideas, and I think I'm going to do most of them in the future too. Please tell me something you liked about this video or something that I should improve on for the next one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.